Hello. I'm here. Welcome, everybody. This is Get Your Life with Dr. Parsons. Do you recognize me? I got my hair cut. I'm so glad that you all are here with me for our weekly, kind of sit down, right? That space to just breathe and heal and love up on yourself. This is Get Your Life, where Authentically Me comes to you every week to find topics, to dive into those topics that we need to address to live free. So I am so glad that you're here with me today. If you've been following me, you know I've been doing my countdown to my haircut, and this whole process has been about letting go. And so today we are talking about what it means to let go. How many people struggle with letting go? Raise your hand, put like that little hand up emoji if you like, oh, I've been holding on to something. Or, there's something that's keeping me stuck in the past that I just can't get over, right? Or get through to be able to live in the moment. Hey, from Chicago, I see you. I was just in your city. I just visited last week. I was out there for a training. Where y'all checking in from? Let me know. I love when people are popping in from new places. I'm so glad, that the word is spreading. Share with your friends. If this is something that has been helpful for you, make sure that you let other people know. Tag them, comment, follow me. I'm on Authentically Me _Live Free on Instagram and Authentically Me Live Free on Facebook. So okay, like I said, we're talking about letting go. We're talking about what that looks like. Tell me, what are the things that get in the way for you of letting go? Because I know some of y'all, actually this topic came from y'all. Someone sent me a message saying, you have to help me with this. Dive into this topic because it's something that holds me back, right? Currently in grad school, I see you from PA checking in. You almost there. Keep going. I know that grad school grind is not easy. I'm proud of you and how far you've come. And I know there's nothing but light ahead. So for me, I'll talk about kind of my journey, especially leading into this process of cutting my hair and what letting go has looked like. So I am somebody who likes to be in control. I will admit I am, I self-proclaimed, I wouldn't say control freak because that we have a little negative connotation with that, but I'm particular. There are things I like a certain way, and when it's not that way, I don't like the feelings that come up inside. And so that has gotten me into some binds because anybody who's been through life knows that we can't always control those things around us, right? Like there are things that happen outside of our control. And as I was walking through the world, like just trying to shape the world the way that it needed to be for me to be happy and for me to be content. And then, for a while that seemed to be working. Like, all right, I'm molding and things are coming together and everything's mapping on with the way that I wanted it to be. And then things were just not going the way I wanted them to, or I was losing grasp, or I was carrying too much and I was trying to control too many different pieces, and things kind of start falling apart with that, right? And then this is what happens. Like, this is why I think it's so important to let go. Because the world is still moving. All those things that you're trying to control are still happening the way that they're going to happen, right? But not only that, now I also am causing an internal tornado trying to resist that, right? Like I'm fighting back. Like, no, I need to hold on to it. I need to, figure it out. I need to regain this supposed control. Let me get back into the driver's seat, right? And so those things around us are moving and, seem to be chaotic and seem to be kind of out of order. And then our inner world is doing the same thing where I'm like losing and kind of, throwing these things back and forth, right? Up and down. And fighting against the current of the things happening around me. And that's where the conflict happens, right? That's where the problems, where now instead of riding with the wave, I'm resisting it. Okay? And so to me, letting go is this space of surrendering. And I don't mean surrendering in a victim kind of mindset of like giving up. When I say surrender, I mean no longer resisting those things, especially those internal feelings that come up that are hard for me to feel, right? That I don't want to experience. No longer especially no longer resisting those things that are, right? Those things that are existing, whether or not I want them to be. If I'm fighting back against that, I'm just creating friction that doesn't have to be there. Because no matter how much I'm trying to avoid it or push it away or ignore it or contort it or change it, it still is, right? It's still there. And so I have an option. I can drop that rope. I can stop fighting against it and just allow it to be. That is letting go. And that to me is like the ultimate freedom. It's like just floating, right? Like this peace in surrendering. And so we're going to talk about that essence, right? But when it comes to those things that we hold on to, those hurts, those pains, those people who have done us wrong, right? Those mistakes that we've made, because sometimes when we're holding on to things, we're holding on to things that we have done that we feel like we regret, right? We're holding on to things that we wish we could have done differently. We're stuck in some past scenario, some past time, right? And we're missing the present because of that, right? So that's what we're talking about when if you're struggling with holding on. I'm going to talk you through the things that I do to let go. Those things that I do to surrender. And I told you, for me, it's that control. I had to learn how to let go of the need for control to allow myself to be present in each new moment, right? To allow myself to see, okay, I might not be controlling the situation. It might not be a replica of what I had envisioned, but there's still beauty here. Right? There's still a gift in this moment. And if I can stop fighting against being upset that it's not the way that I wanted it to be, I can fully experience that gift. Right? So in that resistance, I'm cheating myself of life. In that pushback, right, I'm missing what's there. And that's the same thing that happens when you're holding on to past grudges, when you're holding on to resentment and hurt and pain. You're cheating yourself of the joy and the beauty and the love that's here now. So that is why letting go is so important. Because you deserve to live every new moment. We don't all get new moments. So if you are getting a new one, you should be there. You should be there fully. All right, so I'm going to talk about these three things that I have taken from my journey of letting go, and hopefully they resonate with you. Hopefully they're helpful for you. As always, if you have questions, if you're like, this don't really sit fully with me, or I don't understand what this means, or how can I apply this to my life, like, please be sure to jump onto the comments. Let me know, how things are hitting you, because in this tech age, it's beautiful to be able to reach all of you all. And also, I'm just sitting here by myself in my living room, so sometimes it feels like I'm talking to myself. So talk back to me, let me know that you're here and part of this conversation, and that this is real for you. So the first thing that I want to talk about with letting go, and this one is really important. The other person does not have to be involved in your process of letting go. Whoever else did you wrong, hurt you, misunderstood you, anything that other person, that other party play, any role that they played, that's on them, right? That's their life, their journey, their path. If you are making the choice to let go, you don't need them to do that. And I say that because so often when I'm talking to people, they're like, oh, well, I'm just waiting. I need closure. Or I've been trying to get this person to talk with me or to apologize or to recognize the wrong that they've done, right? Or I'm still caught up trying to explain to them because I need them to see what they did. I need them to understand how they played a part in it, right? Or I need to correct the story they have about me. All of that is a way to keep you trapped in that cycle forever. Because if you're waiting, think about this. The person already did you wrong. If you are now waiting on that person to somehow shift and give you the gift of release, you're going to be waiting forever. Right? Because if they were that tight, you wouldn't be in this dynamic with them to begin with. They've shown you their cards. They've shown you, at least in terms of their role in your life, how they're going to show up. Part of that likely means you can't depend on them. So to now be depending on them for your freedom, that it just doesn't make sense, right? Like that is you kind of giving them the keys, giving them the power over your path. And you're trusting that, your life, to someone who already did you wrong. That's where you now are able to say, okay, now this is for me. This is for me to sit with and deal with and work through. That part is real key, y'all. Y'all have to understand the other person doesn't have to be a part of it. Because in the letting go, you're letting go of your need for them to apologize. You're letting go of your need for them to see you in some different light. Because guess what? Their opinion of you has no relevance to your life. It doesn't matter. And the more that you are trying to shape and control and mold how everyone else in the world interprets you, the more you are taking away from just living in alignment with your truth. Right? I just had this conversation today. Like, we project onto other people the way that they need to live their life at expense of ourselves. Like, you do you over there in your world. I know I'm rocking in my truth. I know I'm living in my full light. And I know the roots of my light. So because you've misinterpreted it, doesn't shift my light. Because you are in a place where you can't see it, doesn't mean that I'm not still shining. Right? And if I'm caught up trying to convince you otherwise, I'm missing opportunities to shine brighter. So you have to let that go. You have to say, recognize that other person is not a part of your journey of letting go. That person, you don't need anything from them to let go. Your process of letting go is fully on your end. If you're thinking about it like a tug of war, right? You're fighting back and forth with this person. You can let go of your rope regardless of what they do. If they want to keep pulling, let them pull, all the way to the end of time. They're going to be doing that on their own while you now have the freedom to walk and do your own thing. Like now all your focus isn't, isolated just to this one fight with them. Right? Now you can just be. So release that need for the other person, whoever, is part of that story for you, whatever happened, whatever, went down. I want to be real clear. This is important. It doesn't mean to forget what happened, right? Because sometimes people confuse. Sometimes people are like, oh, well, in letting go or forgiving or releasing, I'm just supposed to pretend like this never happened. No. We smart human beings who can store information and remember the perpetrators in our lives and respond appropriately in terms of future endeavors, future interactions with them. But you don't need that person to let go of that incident's drain on your life, right? Like, that's your job. Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all understand the difference, what I'm talking about? Okay, so that's the first part that you have to understand. This is a solo job. This is your mission. Letting go is within your control, and it's for you. It's not even for them, because you're the one torn up inside. You're the one angry. You're the one hurt, holding on to that pain. And that anger is literally killing us, y'all. This is why this is so important to me. This space of living free, the reason why I'm like, it is literally life and death with us, with this. The stress that we hold in trying to be somebody that we are not is wearing down our systems. Your body is not meant to hold stress for that prolonged period of time. Stress is an immediate response to get you in that moment out of imminent danger. It is not sustainable. So to hold on, to choose to hold on to stress is killing you. That's how important it is to let it go. Y'all understand what I'm saying? It's not for them, it's for you. That's why you don't need them. Because you're doing it for your own freedom. You're doing it for your own life. Okay, now the second thing that I want y'all to understand. Now this is important. There are layers in our emotions. What do I mean by that? I mean that we have kind of like these protective emotions. Those emotions that we can express and feel safe in expressing them. Those emotions that push people away, right? Those are things like anger, right? Those are things like I'm feeling frustrated, I'm mad, right? Like you're pissed off, because what does that do? That bolsters you up. You feel stronger in that moment, and people are pushed further away from you. Typically, when there's something that you're really holding on to that you can't get past, you're probably experiencing that surface level emotion. Like, I'm just so pissed. Like they really like, set you off so much that you can't let this go. But what I need y'all to understand is that we also have these kind of secondary emotions, these inner emotions. Those feelings that make us feel vulnerable. Those things like sadness. Those things like pain. Right? Those things like I'm hurt in this moment, or I feel weak. And if you stay in that surface level emotion, if you stay in that anger zone, you're that, like, there's not a process of healing there. When we are really able to heal, when we are really able to release and let go, it's because we have broken through that outer shell and understand the roots of the vulnerable emotion underneath. So how do you know that vulnerable emotion underneath is likely there? Are you overreacting? Is the anger that you feel more than most people would express in that same situation? That's one way that likely there's something else going on underneath, right? That helps explain it. Are you stuck in that anger? Because sometimes when it's just anger flares up and then it leaves, right? But if you're stuck there, likely, again, because if you're feeling the anger and it's not leaving you, likely there's something else underneath that's fueling that. If you think about it like Kindles, right? It's fueling the fire underneath, and it's keeping you hot. And until you dig down and figure out, well, what is really driving it, it's going to stay. Because that's how our emotions work. Our emotions are kind of like, the way we process them is almost similar to food, right? Like, you have to actually digest it. You have to feel it fully for it to start to dissipate. So that's why, if you avoid your emotions, they stay with you. You try to stuff them down, they're going to explode back out, right? Because you have to feel it to let it go. That's why a good cry is so healing, right? Because that's a release of your emotions. You're allowing yourself to feel it fully and then let it go. So if you're feeling that anger fully and it's staying, likely that's because there's more emotions there that you haven't quite processed, that anger is protecting, right? So you have to understand that those two levels are going on. And sometimes you can figure out for yourself. Sometimes you can just kind of approach yourself with some level of like curiosity. Like, okay, like what else am I feeling? Like, what else is going on? Why am I so angry? What did this make me think? Right? Like, what did this make me feel? How did this make me feel inside? What's the part that I don't want somebody else to see? I don't want somebody else to know. If you need help with this process, I came up with a worksheet. If you're following me on Instagram, you can click the link, and there's a step-by-step worksheet that helps you dig deep into that, right? Right? So if you're experiencing those things and you're like, I don't understand what those other emotions are, it helps walk you through that process. So it's a free worksheet. Make sure you follow me, Authentically Me _live free, and just click in my bio and you'll see the deep worksheet and just try it out, right? Like, it's this process of, especially if you aren't familiar with how you experience different emotions, it can be helpful to have questions, have prompts to help you understand that process a little more. And I want to be clear on something, right? Because when we're talking about letting go, sometimes we're talking about small things, but sometimes we're talking about real big things. And it can be really hard to let go of those, when I say let go, to experience the full intensity of the emotions that come with those really big things in our lives without help and support. And y'all know I'm an advocate for therapy. I am a therapist. I've been through therapy. Please, if it's something where you're like, the intensity of this is just something that is too much for me to process by myself, and or when I've tried to do that, it hasn't worked, get support. Get help. Get therapy. The same way that if you were sick, you would go to a medical doctor. If you were like, oh, I tried to take my vitamin C or whatever, I took my herbs and, I just can't get rid of this cough, you would go and be like, I need a medical professional to check it out, figure out what's going on. Same thing. If you try to feel it yourself, if you try to work through it, if you try to understand what's going on and it's still there, it's still getting in your way, go see somebody to help you out. That's all that therapy is. Somebody to help you out with a trained eye to guide you through that process. All right? Because it is a process. And like, that's the other piece that you really have to understand. Even if you're able to do it on your own, right? It's iterative. This is not something where you're like, feel it, let it go, I'm done. No, that's not how it works. Okay? All right, we can lean into our emotions to feel them, but we can't control how long they're going to stay or when they're ready to go. So it can be a journey through letting something go. It's not a light switch on or off. I'm done with that. Push it away. It's no longer bothering me. It's a process. Expect the process. Be willing to experience the totality of the process, because you need to experience all of it, right? In order to fully let it go. Same thing with digestion, right? Digestion, your food goes through waves of digestion. It's not just like nutrient zap done. No, it goes through waves. Goes through cycles, and those different parts of our organs are working in different ways to help extract different parts, right? Different things that our body needs in those different stages. Same way with the emotions. You're feeling it on different levels each time. It's going through that cycle. Each time, okay, I let a little more of that go. I felt a little more of that, pain, and released it. And again, this can be for small things or for really big things. I feel that way, about grief. And I talk about this in my own experiences of loss. The anniversaries can be a real marker of healing, right? And a real marker of, what level of pain have I already experienced and released? And what new level of pain am I experiencing this time around? It's a real concrete time stamp to kind of give me that track that journey for me. So on the smaller scale, though, what I tend to do when I'm thinking about, how much have I let something go, I pay attention to the amount of time I spend thinking about it involuntarily. So if something happens, right, in the heat of the moment, right then after, I'm like, it's heavy on my mind. Like, it's all I'm thinking about. I can't, even if I want to think about something else, here it comes popping back up in my mind. You should have said this, or you should have done this, or I can't believe she really did this, right? And I'm reliving it in the moment as if I was still in that moment, right? That's how I know, okay, I'm going to need some time to process this one. I'm going to need some time to feel this, to let it go, right? And I ask myself, well, what were you thinking when you really got hot? Like, how did she make you feel? Right? What were the thoughts running through your mind? What was your mind telling you to beat you down, right? What were those vulnerable emotions coming up? Feel that. Sit into that. And I might release a little more in that moment, and I'll think about it a little less. But it still pops up. When to me, that's my signal of there's still more for me to feel in that. When I get to a place where I forgot about it, or I have to bring it up, intentionally in my mind, then I know I felt that and released that. Now it's just a memory. Now, yeah, I can recall it if I think about it, but otherwise I'm good. Other markers that you can use are, especially when it comes if there are interactions with other people that you're working on letting go. How do you feel when you think about seeing that person? How do you feel when you think about going back to that room or that space where whatever went down, right? If you are feeling totally neutral, yeah, let's rock, let's go, that's a good sign for you. Okay, I'll work through that. If something's coming up for you, that's that signal for you. I need to feel this a little bit more, right? Okay. So this is interesting. Someone says, the feelings come and go. Every time they resurface, I tell myself this is day one again, because I begin experiencing the same feelings again. And this is such an important point. This is so real, y'all. We tell ourselves, and this is why you have to recognize that it's a journey, because we tell ourselves, if you are feeling similar things, or if you're feeling the same way again about a situation, that you haven't made any progress. We tell ourselves that means I'm starting from the beginning. When really, the work that you've done already, that was a layer of healing. That layer of healing is still released, right? This is, even if you are feeling the same way, you're at a deeper space in your healing. Think about it like an onion. You peeled off a layer. Every time you're willing to really sit in, especially those inner emotions. Remember, I talked about not the surface ones, but those inner ones underneath. You are peeling back another layer of your healing. Because sometimes that mindset of oh, here I go, I got to start over again. Then we beat up on ourselves for that, right? We tell ourselves there's something wrong with us for still feeling this way. When really, we should still be feeling that way. It's not going to be overnight, especially those big things. You're going to come back. You're going to circle around, right? If you ever seen that graph, we say people think healing is this straight line, when really it's this zigzag, back around, turn around, let's go back again, but then a little bit forward, right? All of it is progress. All of it is you feeling and releasing. Feeling and releasing. Okay? And so I want you to congratulate yourself on if you're feeling, hey, I'm feeling this again. That means that you are in a deeper space than you were before. And you're still willing to sit with it and release it. Okay? So stick in that journey, and again, there is absolutely a space for therapy in this, right? Because if you're stuck in any stage of this process, if you're stuck in the anger, if you're stuck in suffering, right? Because that suffering where we are keeping ourselves in that pain, that's not the space of healing either. That's where we start having like kind of the depressive side of it, right? Where now I'm adding fire, and yes, I'm in the sadness, but I can't get out of that sadness. And I've been there, y'all. Again, go to therapy. I've been to therapy, and make sure it's therapy that's working for you. I've been to a therapist where I was like, this ain't the right fit, this ain't for me. Switch it up. The same way you would a doctor. If you went to a doctor, you were like, I don't like you. This is not, you're not a good fit for me. You wouldn't just say, forget all doctors. I don't care. I'm not doing that no more. No, you would go find another one. The same thing. It's so vital. So I hope that this has been helpful for you all. I hope that, there's some space of being a step towards willingness to feel, a willingness to let go, and a recognition of how important it is. Because this is your life. Your life matters. You are worthy. You are valuable. And we need you. We need you in your full freedom. The world needs you. I need you. Thank you for sharing this space with me. I so love you all. This journey has just been too much for me to carry by myself, which is why I'm overflowing and sharing it with you all. This space of freedom is one that I hope that we all feel at some stage in our life, because I have felt caged in and I know what that feels like. And we all deserve to be free. And that's my mission here on earth, to create those spaces where we all have the freedom to live as our genuine and authentic selves. And I'm not fully free until we all are, right? So this is going to be my lifetime mission. Please check me out again next Wednesday. I'm here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock for Get Your Life. If you aren't already, make sure that you're following me on Instagram, authenticallyme_live-free, and on Facebook, authenticallyme-live-free. Hit me up with a comment or a DM, a message. Let me know if there are other topics that you want me to take on. If you have questions or follow-ups or things from this conversation that you want to dive more into, I'm always open for those conversations. I just want to share one more thing, right? Because I talked about how this is so connected to me cutting my hair, and in terms of the process part of it, it was so funny because I washed my hair, right? So it was like real kinky and tight curls. I didn't pick it out, nothing, right? It was just wet and then shrinked up the way my hair does. And so my barber is like, dang, so you gonna try to pick your hair out? I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't think that's about to happen because it had already dried up. Y'all know what that is, right? Like after I missed the stage of blowing it out. That part has already been done. So I'm there for this transformation. I'm there for this shift and change. She's like, don't worry, like I'm a rock with it, right? So I'm feeling, him using the clippers. And for me, I'm like, okay, like I should have a decent amount off my head at this point. Like I should be able to see it. And I'm looking up in the mirror like, it don't look like you've done anything. What's happening up here? Because he was working so slowly and delicately because, there was so much hair. I have a lot of hair. Or I had a lot of hair, not no more. And he was working that process out. And it was just this embodiment of what letting go is. It's a process. It's not going to be this quick, done and done thing, right? And I could feel almost like the resistance of my hair. There were some aspects of it where it felt like it was the kinks and the coils were like holding on, right? And he would just keep, working it, right? Back and forth, like, okay, we releasing this. We letting it go. And then you look up and you see like, oh, it's coming to life. And in that moment, I have never felt more beautiful. That like real, my hair is gone. It wasn't totally shaped up, wasn't no lines yet, wasn't, done, but it was like I could see how far I've come. And that then gave me the momentum, the excitement to sit with the final pushes of like, now we're trimming and we're shaping and we're angling and we're perfecting. And we want that part to happen right away. We want to get just straight to let me just magic abracadabra and be to the finish line. Right? But there are things that we go through along the way. You have to stick with that process to get to the outcome. Same with letting go. This is for your life journey, for the ways that we work towards freedom, for those life goals, right? We got to be willing to go through the process to get there. And then you come out shining, girl. Because I was walking through that street totally glowed up, right? And that's what I'm carrying with me, and I hope that you all carry with you too. I love you all. I'm really signing off this time. Peace, love, and light. See you next Wednesday.